My dear friends, in this life, you can be the sweetest mango on the planet, yet someone, somewhere, will still dislike mangoes. So if people can find faults in something as delightful as a mango, imagine how easily they can find faults in you. The truth is, disrespect often says more about them than about you. And that's why when someone treats you with disrespect, the strongest response is silence, simply ignoring them. Tell me, my friends, have you ever walked down a street and a dog suddenly starts barking? Be honest, do you stop there, sit down beside it and start debating? Do you bark back? Do you say, excuse me, Mr. Dog, I disagree with your barking? Of course not. You keep walking because you know dogs bark, that's what they do, and your life is far too valuable to waste proving yourself to a barking dog. In the same way, people will bark at you not with their mouths, but through their sarcasm, criticism, and insults. The question is, will you pause your journey, your growth, your joy, just to respond to their noise, or will you keep walking toward your purpose? If we stopped at every bark, my friends, we'd never reach our destination. Picture a traveler walking toward a sacred temple. Every few steps, a dog barks, and he stops to argue. By the time he finally reaches, the temple doors are closed. In the same way, if you spend your energy reacting to everyone who disrespects you, by the time you return to your dreams, your opportunities might already be gone. That's why the wise choose to ignore. Ignoring doesn't mean weakness. It means strength, the strength to say, I will not be disturbed by the noise around me. So, if the barking of a dog cannot interrupt your walk, why let the barking of a disrespectful person disturb your peace? Always remember, when dogs bark at the moon doesn't come down to explain itself. The moon keeps shining. And that, my dear friends, is exactly what we must do. Let them bark, you keep shining. My dear friends, let's pause and reflect on something meaningful. When someone disrespects us, our first instinct is to strike back immediately. Why? Because the voice of the ego whispers inside, how dare they speak to me like that? I must respond. But take a moment and think, when you react, are you truly punishing them? Or are you simply feeding the very fire you wish to put out? You see, fire cannot burn without oxygen. The more oxygen you give it, the higher and fiercer the flames rise. But the moment you withdraw the oxygen, the fire weakens and dies. Disrespect works the same. The moment we react with anger, with shouting, or even with silent resentment, we are feeding oxygen to that fire. But when we stay calm, composed, and silent, the flames eventually fade. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two people in an argument. One raises his voice, throws harsh words, but the other stays quiet. What happens next? After a while, the person gets tired, his words lose strength. But if the other person also starts yelling louder and louder, what was once a spark quickly turns into a wildfire. And who suffers then? Both of them. Both lose their peace, their self-control, and sometimes even their relationship. So, my friends, not every action deserves a reaction. Real power often lies not in responding, but in restraining. When you choose silence over reaction, you're not displaying weakness, you're displaying wisdom. You are silently declaring, I control my peace, and no one else has the power to take it from me. Now, I know some of you might wonder, but if I don't respond, won't they think I'm scared or weak? Let me ask you something. Does the ocean lose its greatness because it doesn't respond to every drop of rain? Of course not. The ocean remains vast and deep because it doesn't need to prove its strength. Similarly, when you truly know your worth, you don't need to prove it to anyone. Your silence becomes your statement, a statement far louder than any words of anger. I once met a gentleman who told me, I lost my peace because of one insult. So I asked him, how long did that insult last? He said, maybe 10 seconds. Then I asked, and how long have you been carrying it? He replied, for 2 years. Think about that, my friends. 10 seconds of insult, 2 years of suffering. Not because of what was said, but because he kept replaying it in his mind. The fire kept burning because he kept supplying oxygen to it. So ask yourself this, am I willing to sacrifice my peace, my energy, my precious time just to prove something to someone who probably isn't even thinking about me? When you react, you shrink yourself to their level. When you ignore, you rise above. And that rising is not pride, it is freedom. So the next time someone disrespects you, take a breath, smile gently if you can, and walk away with peace. Because reacting makes them bigger in your life, ignoring makes you bigger in your own. Remember, oxygen can either feed the fire or it can sustain your life. Choose wisely, my dear friends. My dear friends, silence is one of the most underestimated strengths in the world. People often mistake silence for weakness, for surrender, for the inability to reply. But the truth is, silence is often the loudest response you can ever offer. Think about it. When someone disrespects you, what do they truly want? They're waiting for your reaction. They want to see you angry, unsettled, shaken. Your reaction gives them satisfaction. Your calmness confuses them. When you stay composed, when you protect your dignity through silence, you take away the very fuel they thrive on. They start wondering, why isn't he responding? Why isn't she fighting back? And that's when your silence speaks more powerfully than any words. Let me share a story. Once, a wise teacher was invited to a gathering. Among the crowd, a jealous man stood up and began hurling insults, mocking him, ridiculing his wisdom, even questioning his character. The people in the hall grew restless. They thought, surely the wise man will answer now, but the teacher remained calm, unshaken, silent. After some time, the jealous man ran out of words. His anger exhausted him. He sat down, defeated by his own noise. Later, the teacher said gently, if someone offers you a gift and you refuse to take it, to whom does it belong? The people replied, to the one who offered it. The teacher smiled and said, insults are the same. If I don't accept them, they stay with the giver. Isn't that profound? Silence doesn't mean you didn't hear the insult. It means you refuse to swallow the poison. Why drink something you know will only harm you? Now imagine this, my friends. Suppose someone throws a stone into a peaceful lake. What happens? Ripples form and the still water is disturbed. But if no stone is thrown, the surface remains calm, reflecting the sky like a mirror. Our mind is that lake. Harsh words are those stones. If we react to every stone thrown our way, our inner peace will always be unsettled. But if we stay still choosing silence, the lake of our mind remains clear, capable of reflecting wisdom and kindness. Some might think, if I remain silent, won't people walk over me? But silence isn't about surrendering your power. It's about mastering it. There's a world of difference between silence born of fear and silence born of strength. Silence born of fear is weakness. Silence born of strength is wisdom. One makes you a victim. The other makes you victorious. There's an old saying, even a fish would stay out of trouble if it kept its mouth closed. So many conflicts, so many broken hearts, so many grudges could have been avoided if just one person had chosen silence at the right time. Not forever, not always, but in the right moment. Because silence cools the fire of anger. And when the time is right, your words spoken calmly will carry more weight than 1,000 shouted replies. Let me share something from my own journey. There were times when people said hurtful things to me. My heart wanted to answer instantly, but I chose silence. And with time, those very people returned, softened, even ashamed of what they'd said. Had I fought back, they would have fought harder. But because I stayed quiet, they fought with their own conscience. And my friends, let me tell you, the human conscience is the most powerful opponent one can ever face. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember, silence doesn't mean they won. It means you've outgrown the battle. Silence means you refuse to lower yourself into the noise. Silence means you value peace more than opinion. And in the end, peace is the greatest victory of all. My dear friends, let's pause and think for a moment. What is the most valuable treasure you possess? Is it money? No, because money can be lost and earned again. Is it relationships? They matter, of course, but people come and go. The most priceless possession you have is your peace of mind. If your mind is restless, no amount of success can make you happy. If your mind is disturbed, even the most loving relationships will feel heavy. Peace is the foundation of everything beautiful in life. Without it, nothing truly feels good. With it, even small things feel divine. Yet here lies the tragedy. Most of us are willing to trade our peace for the smallest things. A few unpleasant words, and we lose our calm for hours, days, even months. One disapproving look, and we carry it in our hearts like a wound. Someone gossips about us, and we replay their words in our heads like a song stuck on repeat. Isn't that strange? We claim our peace is priceless, yet we hand it away so easily. Let's picture this. If you owned a golden watch, would you give it to a stranger who insulted you? Never. You'd guard it with care. Yet your peace of mind is worth more than gold, and still we surrender it so cheaply. One insult, and we lose sleep. One harsh comment, and our mood collapses. Is that fair to yourself, my friends? Ask yourself, is someone's careless opinion worth more than your inner calm? We must learn this truth. Our peace is greater than their perception. If someone disrespects you, it reveals their nature, not yours. Why let their lack of manners destroy your serenity? Why let their storm drown your sunshine? Just because clouds hide the sun, does the sun stop shining? Of course not. It's still there, bright as ever, waiting to be seen again. Your peace is like that constant, steady radiant. Others may throw clouds of negativity, but they cannot dim your light unless you allow them to. There's a saying, when an elephant walks through the marketplace, dogs may bark, but the elephant keeps moving. Why? Because the elephant knows its strength, its grace, its dignity. It doesn't lower itself to argue with every bark along the way. Similarly, when you know your worth, you don't allow the noise of others to pull you down. You protect your peace more fiercely than your pride. I once met a young man who said, I lost my happiness because of one disrespectful remark. So I asked him, how long did that remark last? He replied, barely a few seconds. Then I asked, and how long have you been reliving it? He said softly, for years. Think about it, a few seconds of insult, years of inner turmoil, not because of what was said, but because he kept replaying it in his mind. The fire kept burning because he kept adding wood to it. So, my dear friends, ask yourself today, will you continue feeding the fire that burns your peace, or will you let it die by refusing to react? When you react, you give others power over you. When you stay calm, you reclaim that power. Your silence doesn't show fear, it shows mastery. The next time someone tries to pull you into their chaos, smile gently and walk away. Because reacting gives them space in your life, but ignoring gives you space within yourself. Remember this, your peace is your greatest wealth. Guard it the way a king guards his crown. Let them bark, you just keep walking, shining, and smiling. One of the biggest mistakes we make in life is believing that someone else's disrespect defines who we are. When people insult you, mock you, or look down on you, the mind immediately begins to question, is it true? Am I really that worthless? Do others see me this way too? But listen carefully, their words don't define your identity. Their words reveal their character, not yours. Think about this. If someone spits at the sky, does the sky become dirty? No. The spit falls right back on the one who threw it. The sky remains vast, beautiful, and untouched. In the same way, when someone throws disrespect at you, it tells you nothing about who you are. It only exposes what is happening inside them. Their frustration, their bitterness, their lack of peace within. Disrespect is never a mirror of you. It's a mirror of them. But here's the danger when we start believing their words, when we allow that negativity to rest in our heart. we start carrying their ugliness within our soul. It's like someone hands you a bag of garbage. If you accept it and hold on to it, who suffers? You do. But if you refuse to take it, the garbage stays with them. Their disrespect is their garbage. Don't pick it up, don't carry it, don't let it pollute your mind. Let me share a story. A teacher once entered his classroom holding a glass of water. He asked his students, "How heavy is this glass?" They shouted different answers, 100 grams, 200 grams. The teacher smiled and said, "It doesn't matter how heavy it is. If I hold it for a minute, it feels light. If I hold it for an hour, my arm begins to ache. If I hold it all day, my arm goes numb." He continued, "The weight never changes, but the longer I hold it, the heavier it feels." Disrespect and insults are exactly like this glass of water. If you carry them for a few moments, they won't hurt much. But if you keep holding on, replaying them again and again in your mind, they become unbearable. The secret, my friends, is to put the glass down. Let it go. Ask yourself, when someone disrespected you years ago, are you still holding that glass? If yes, then you are suffering not because of their words, but because you refuse to let it go. The moment you drop it, you are free. And here's another simple reflection. Imagine a parrot. If you teach it sweet words, it repeats sweetness. If you teach it bitter words, it repeats bitterness. The parrot only repeats what it has been taught. People are the same. If their hearts are full of love, they will speak love. If their hearts are full of pain, they will speak pain. So when someone throws bitterness at you, don't take it personally. It belongs to them, not to you. My dear friends, even if someone writes the wrong price tag on gold, does it reduce the gold's worth? No. Gold remains gold. Its value is defined by its nature, not by a label. In the same way, your worth is not determined by people's opinions. It comes from your values, your integrity, your compassion. Let them write whatever price tag they want. It doesn't change your true value. So next time someone disrespects you, pause. Take a breath and remind yourself, this is their reflection, not mine, their inner storm, not my reality. Don't allow their words to poison your peace. See them for what they are, a display of their character. Then walk away with dignity, with calm, with strength. Because your respect doesn't come from their mouth, it comes from your mind, your heart, and your soul. And remember, the most respected souls in history, saints, leaders, visionaries, were all disrespected at some point. They were mocked, criticized, and laughed at. But today we bow down to them in reverence, while their critics are long forgotten. Why? Because disrespect never defines the respected. It only defines the one who disrespects. So, my dear friends, walk tall. Let others reveal who they are, but never forget who you are. My dear friends, let me leave you with a picture. Imagine you're walking through a busy street. Dogs bark, horns blare, people shout, but above all that noise, you hear a bird singing. The bird doesn't stop because of the chaos around it. It keeps singing because its song comes from within, not from the world outside. In the same way, don't let the barking of others silence your song. Don't let their disrespect drown your inner music. When people throw mud at you, don't pick it up to throw it back, keep walking. Because if you stop for every barking dog, you'll never reach your destination. Let the noise fade behind you as you move forward with quiet dignity. Remember this truth. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Not every word deserves a response. Not every insult deserves your attention. Sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Sometimes ignoring isn't avoidance, it's elevation. So when someone disrespects you, take a deep breath and smile. Tell yourself softly, my peace is too precious, my purpose too sacred, my time too short. Keep walking like the elephant while the dogs bark. Keep shining like the sun while the clouds try to cover it. Because no one can dim the light that shines from a soul that chooses peace. And remember, in the end, people's words will fade, but your calm, your kindness, and your inner strength will echo forever.